A couple of weeks ago in our worship service, we were thinking about what it means for the church to love those who are not part of it. How part of being adopted into the family of God means sharing what we have with others. And at the end of that service, I gave a blessing based on Micah 6:8. Words which may be familiar to many of us. He has shown you, O mortal, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To act justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with your God. And today, as I sat down at my desk to plan what I would say to you all, that verse came back to me. It seems particularly poignant this week as governments from across the world gather in Glasgow to talk about climate change. The harmful impact we are having on this planet should be important to us as God's people, not least because the Bible tells us that He has entrusted all of creation into our care. And we haven't been doing a very good job of caring for it. But even if we were to set that aside, climate change becomes a matter of justice and mercy. As with so many things in life, the most significant negative impact of climate change is upon the world's poorest. The energy use, the industrial and agricultural practices of the richest nations on our planet are the greatest contributors to the problem. And it means that small farmers living hand to mouth find that their crops will no longer grow in an increasingly arid environment. It means that the poorest nations and peoples in our world do not have the resources to adapt as the fragile places in which they live become more hostile. Whilst those who contribute most to the problem can deal with it easily, those whose impact is least suffer the most. This is not justice. Loving our world, loving our neighbours, loving mercy and acting justly means doing something about climate change. And it's important that we recognise that we are part of the problem. We may feel powerless to effect change, but we need to think about what we spend our money on, what we invest in. We need to consider the fact that those who set global policy, economic policy, environmental policy for our nation, they act on our behalf. It may feel like nothing will change. It may feel like nothing can change. But our God is a God of transformation, the renewing of minds, a change from darkness to light, from sinners to saints, from dead to alive. See, Isaiah 43:19 says, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? I am making a way in the wilderness and streams in the wasteland. And it seems to me like this is the sort of thing we need right now. Streams in the wasteland. A change which impacts the very ground upon which we walk. A change of the way we think and act. The humility to set aside what makes life easiest for me for the sake of those in most desperate need. And as a church, as the family of God, as Christians, we should be doing all we can to act, to stand up, to speak out, to show the world the love of God in the way we act on this matter. To be like that city on a hill, shining a light for all to see, a light that brings hope to those most in need. So that when we proclaim the love of Jesus, it's backed up by our actions on this. And if you have not done so already, I would urge you, write to your local MP about this. And if you don't know what to write, you can find sample letters on the websites of the Young Christian Climate Network or on Christian Aid's website. Let those who make our policies know that this matters to God's people. And pray. Our God is a God of change, of transformation, so let's ask Him for it. Whilst those world leaders meet at COP26 from now until the 12th of November, pray. Every day, pray for the debates and negotiations and proposals. Pray once that conference has finished that the commitments would stick. Pray to our God of transformation that his world would be transformed, that the voices of his people crying out for justice would be heard, that the most vulnerable would be protected, and that the world might see his love in action through us.